Hey, what's up YouTube? Goratha here. So today I'm going to talk about my day one retaliation and how that went, and how the build's going, all the problems I ran into, all the questions I got asked, and all the changes I made. Let's get into it. So bandits. I actually got asked this question quite a bit. This is to be honest, I don't think it really matters that much. I think they're all viable options now, but I'll quickly go through the pros and cons. So 15 all res. I think this is actually the best overall for league starting. 15 all res, this helps your gear management quite a bit. It's pretty hard to get gear that has suppression early on, and good res, and chaos res too on top of that. So having a 15 all res, one pointer basically, it's just really strong. I think this is definitely the best option for like league starting. Later on, I think 8% roost speed is probably the best. That or +1 skill point. The 40 life is, on paper, like before the league, 40 life was like, yeah, you take 40 life for sure, because it's just 40 life. But after like playing the league, you get so many items that have 100 plus life now. It's like, this just loses value because you have so much flat life already. I wouldn't say it's a bad pick. It's just, early on, I would rather have res, and later on, you have gear that's life on it. So it's like, probably the least enticing to me. That being said, I think it's just a preference thing. I personally think 15 on res is best though. For lab, I actually changed the order in which I took my lab points. I'll explain quickly why. So early on, I realized that Retaliate is really good when you block and you can actually use it. But when you run to a mob that can't be blocked because it's using spells, then you can't really do damage. I opted to get Determined Survivor because I wanted to get Versatile Combatant earlier to get Spellblock. Now, if you don't have Spellblock, you run into things like Act 4 Shavron, and she does a lot of spells. She doesn't actually even attack. You'd have to kill her with something that's not Retaliate, which didn't really seem good to me, so I ended up just getting the block first. That being said, I think there's a reason to not go this first. If you find a shield that has 40% plus block, you can probably get Versatile Combatant early and get Measure Retaliation. Measure Retaliation is very, very strong. I would take it first if I could. I didn't have a good shield. You can find shields now that have 40% plus block pretty easily. I found a couple shields in the campaign, and I think I would take Measure Retaliation if I found one of those shields earlier. That being said, I think you take these two first, and you get the Bleed Explosions last. Bleed Explosions are really, really good, but I think you kind of need these two nodes to make Retaliation leveling work. You could just level as like Sunder two-hander and switch to Retaliate at Merklab. That might be the most efficient way to level. That being said, I did enjoy leveling with Retaliation. Early on in the campaign, I was one-shotting bosses like Oak. There was actually a bug where he would use Enduring Cry and you'd crash, but I actually killed him so fast with Eviscerate that I got past him, because I didn't want to help Oak. I wanted to help Alira. But yeah, that's what happened with that. And yeah, I was one-shotting a couple bosses in the campaign, actually. Eviscerate was pretty fun for leveling. It wasn't like super fast, but it was just super fun. If you do want to be super efficient though, I think like this is probably what you do. You probably just get Gratuitous Violence, Jagged Technique, level 2-hand Sunder, 3-second Merklab, go Retaliation and Merklab. That's probably what I would do. If you don't do that though, you want these two nodes ASAP. Speaking of Sunder, I actually didn't use Sunder at all, basically. I used Sunder for like one level during the campaign. I got a pretty decent shield, and I just used Shield Crush. Shield Crush until my block was good enough, and even then I dropped Shield Crush even. At some point, I did end up using Bladestorm. Now, Bladestorm isn't really for damage. It does help a little bit for clearing, I guess, but it's mostly for the aggravate. I wrote this quickly on that we need a skill that hits really fast to proc aggravate, and Retaliate is pretty much the opposite of that. So Bladestorm just is a perfect fit. Bladestorm gives you a nice stationary ability that hits quite a bit and procs aggravate. And then we also put utility on it, like Maim for more phys damage taken, Fortify, Fortify is this OP, and Momentum for more move speed. This is a very nice feel-good skill. You could also go for the Transfigured version to get some Sandstorms occasionally and move even faster. That's why I'm using Bladestorm. It's not really for the damage, just for utility. Oh yeah, before I go on, I want to talk about this Axe Mastery. A lot of people were asking me, why do you have the Axe Mastery for Blood Sands if you don't have Blood and Sand? I've talked about this before, but you get this damage even without Blood and Sand or Flesh and Stone. You're always counted as being in Blood Stance. This is just 30% damage. We don't really have that much damage on the tree, like percent damage, so this is a very strong node. Would definitely not drop this. Very good. One really big thing I noticed with Retaliation, especially Eviscerate, is you really, really want to get these AoE nodes early on. The 60 AoE actually makes the cone, like makes it a cone attack more than a double slash attack. Because currently it has like, without the AoE, you have like 2 slashes and they kind of don't really overlap very well. And with Eviscerate, I'm pretty sure it overlaps and you can hit the same target with both of the slashes. The AoE is a big game changer. Like, this is something you want to get as soon as possible. As soon as you come over here, honestly, probably even over like Aggressive Bastion. It's just like very, very strong if you're using Eviscerate. The trait changes, I opted to not go into Marauder. You do want Unwavering Standstill. This is pretty much unavoidable. Unwavering Iron Reflexes, very strong. I did opt into going for Vanquisher instead of Marauder, though. This is pretty much the only change. You just get Nomadic Teachings instead of Prismatic Skin, and you get Vanquisher instead of like Marauder Life. This is because I felt like I had enough defense to not require more HP, and you also get more HP now on gear. So I felt like I would just go for this instead. So far it's working out, but yeah. Also, you might notice I have Heavy Draw anointed. That's just because I found an item that had it already. This doesn't actually do anything for the build. I don't want you guys to get confused about this. Just an item I found on the ground. Don't anoint Heavy Troll, please. And yeah, I went for Suppression early on. Looked at all these Suppression nodes. I'm actually perfectly capped Suppression right now, I think. With my chest piece, which doesn't actually show up on PUB because it's a new base. A lot of things don't show up in PUB yet, like the Eviscerate gem itself. This is going to be right here. Later on, I'm actually going to take Prepared Response and start using Crushing Fist and Eviscerate. Crushing Fist plus Fists of War. I was doing this early on as well, but I felt like I couldn't really fit in Crushing Fists with my gem links yet. I just didn't have enough gem links. I'm going to try to fit it in later, though. I think it'll be very strong. Basically, what happens is you start rotating them. Like, you'll use a Crushing Fist. There'll be a chance for it to not be used. It's a chance for it to like make your Eviscerate usable. It gives you another way for Eviscerate to become usable without blocking. And then you have like this ping pong casino type gameplay. It's very interesting and enjoyable. Very different as well. That being said, so overall, I really like this character. It's been going pretty well. Oh, the other item I want to talk about is Jack the Axe. Jack the Axe is an item I found. I got it from Syndicate, from like one of the take this item reward things. I thought about this before the league. I didn't put it in the POB, but this is a very, very good starting option. It has decent damage, but it also has the dot multi, chance to bleed, and on top of that, Thirst of Blood gives you 20% more bleed damage. Pretty crazy. So this is pretty hard to beat. Like, once you get like a pretty good axe though, 400, 500 CPS axe, you'll replace it. But that's not the OP part about it. The OP part is you get a bunch of regen. So I was using Vitality. I ended up just dropping Vitality when I got this, because you get 400 regen per enemy affected by your bleed. Basically, if you're mapping and doing something like Expedition, you're like unkillable. It's pretty ridiculous. Speaking of Blood Magic, I think maybe eventually we'll end up dropping Blood Magic to use Tinctures. I thought about going Bloodsoaked Blade, but it's extra 30 points and we're already kind of point starved. I still haven't decided exactly what I'm doing with that, but I want to use a Tincture basically at some point, because Tinctures give like 33 dot multi and 100% bleed damage, and you get like a crease effect. Kind of insane. I want to use it on bossing probably, and you just can't really use it with Blood Magic unless you take Bloodsoaked Blade. Maybe that's the play. You take Bloodsoaked Blade, probably worth 3 points. But I was thinking like I could probably get away with like life tapping Eviscerate, dropping Blood Magic, and just using like Prime Malevolence or something. We'll have to see. Because I think the mana is probably okay, which is Spirit of War. I still haven't decided on that. Something to keep in mind though. Last thing I want to talk about, Endurance Charges. So, Endurance Charges make mobs still immortal. I don't know if they changed something or it's just the build, but definitely do not do like the map mod that still charges. Monsters become super tanky, and you're a lot squishier because you don't have endurance charges. It's a pretty annoying map mod. I would try to avoid that one. And yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.